Hey, this is Drew Page. Welcome to the Drew Page channel. In this video, we are going to expose Meet Kevin Paffrath. Now, Meet Kevin is someone that I had never heard of until 2020. In fact, I found him by accident. And the way I found him is I've been following Grant Cardone and his videos for quite a while. And while I was going through some of the videos, I noticed that he had several type of exposing Cardone Capital and exposing Grant Cardone. And I watched a lot of those and then started watching his real estate videos, which are extremely helpful. And then from then on, I kind of just followed him throughout the last couple of years. And he's got very sharp analysis. He's a very smart guy. But recently, he did something that just completely blew everyone's mind. And I want to talk about that in this video. Now, one of my responsibilities as an attorney is to put on evidence. And the way we do that is by starting with a story and getting all of the information that's out and finding what can be used to prove a point. Now, I want to show you what really happened with Meet Kevin and his decision to sell everything as a trader as opposed to an investor. Also, what's really going on with his I'm not leaving comment, where now he says that he was meaning that he wasn't leaving YouTube. And finally, I want to talk about what it means for us as investors. So stick around to the end. There's going to be a lot of helpful information. So here's where we start. There was a video that he did on January 18th, and it was about Bill Ackman, and he was calling Bill Ackman out for essentially talking down a dip so that he could buy the dip and get the market to slam down. So he could get in and scoop up all the money, and that it wasn't transparent. And in that particular video, Meet Kevin says this.
And because hedge funds and institutions and suits are making money shorting the crap out of this market under the fear that all of a sudden the Fed hiking rates is such a bad thing and that inflation expectations are going through the roof, when that is not true. Inflation expectations are not going through the roof. The bond market is telling that to us loud and clear. Instead, it's scumbags like this trying to shake out the weak hands out of the market and rob people blind by putting pressure and pain where it don't belong, because they're scumbags who aren't transparent with their positions. And this is why I am 100% transparent with absolutely everything I do in my portfolio. If you join my Stocks and Psychology of Money program, you will learn to think like I do when it comes to the market. And to me, this is a signal of the freaking bottom. This is a signal of the bottom. Be careful with margin, but I am bullish on this market. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not effing leaving. If you want to see exactly what I'm doing, you want to learn about my psychology, check out the links in the description down below for building your wealth. No matter what market we're in, I'm on your side.
Okay, so he says he's 100% transparent. Now, in fairness, he says he's 100% transparent with those who are in the Stocks and Psychology of Money course that he has. And so in fairness, he didn't say that he was 100% transparent with his YouTube audience. But he says that he is 100% transparent with those who are in the Stocks and Psychology of Money course. So to sign up and get the birthday coupon code or whatever. But he says that signal with Ackman and what he saw with inflation and all that was a sign that we were at a market bottom. That's what he said on January 18th. He says it's a market bottom. And then he says, I am bullish on this market. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not effing leaving. And it's clear. Go back and watch it again. It is 100% clear. He is not talking about leaving YouTube. He's not talking about staying around on YouTube. He is 100% talking about, I'm not leaving the market. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not effing leaving. That's what he has said over the last 2 years at various times as a diamond hander and, trying to curry favor with the Wall Street Bets folks. He's clearly talking about he's not leaving the market. Has nothing to do with I'm not leaving YouTube. So remember that as we go through these next videos. Now, after this video, I actually went back and watched all of his live streams and all of his other videos from this video all the way until he talks about how he sold his portfolio, so that way I could make sure that if there was something I missed, I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss anything, so I could put it all out there on the table for you. So the next video that we see where he's talking about making changes is in the morning of January 20. He does a video called SoFi Analysis, and in that video he says he's taken a position in the market. Check this out.
Hey, quick note, I just put $1.5 million into the stock market in stocks and options. And if you want to know exactly what trades I'm making, check out the Stocks and Psychology of Money group link down below. You get lifetime access, price goes up over time, no reason not to join. And there's a coupon code link down below that's expiring soon. Birthday's coming up.
There you have it. So on the morning of January 20th, he's posted a video that he put $1.5 million into the market, which is your typical Kevin buying the dip. There was a dip in the market. He's thrown $1.5 million and he's letting people know that. So that was the morning of January 20th. Now in the closing live stream, we see Kevin has a YouTube video posted called Market Back to Plummeting. And in that video, Kevin spells out exactly what he has spent his money on. And he does it in a couple of ways. In one way, he does it through purchasing a particular stock. Here's the stock that he talks about.
Now, I know there's been a lot of continued sort of dipping and such here, but just as an example, if you're ever wondering, just as an example, what, for example, the buy sell alerts would do for you in the Stocks and Psychology of Money group. I mentioned earlier in the stream that I bought a firm right here at 60.02 is when I bought right in this dip. And then I sent out at the same time, the same like 20 seconds, sent out an alert like, hey, sell off here, I'm buying it. There's no guarantee in the short term you're going to make money. There's really also no guarantee that in the long term you're going to make money. But in my opinion, you take advantage of little pain points. And even if you're picking up $3-4 here, or you're just building out a share position, sometimes for folks who can't sit in front of a computer screen all day long, those alerts are nice. So remember, you get lifetime access to that in Stocks and Psychology of Money group. I always like to say the proof is in the pudding. So there's the pudding. Anyway, so this is what I bought. You can see the time. I don't know, does it show the time? No, it just shows the date, but it shows you the price. But anyway, it's just little things like that. Again, no guarantee. Like I can't tell you what's going to happen in the next 30 minutes or the next hour, but I do like to build out my positions. And right now, I think there are phenomenal opportunities to build out a firm.
Here we see Kevin saying that there are opportunities to build up some shares in a firm, essentially showing his buy the dip strategy, which is, again, what we've known him for the last 2 years. And so it was an example, not just for a firm, but also for those who are watching his YouTube. He was using them as an example to show that these lower market times are good times to buy the dip. So he does that first by showing the purchase with a firm. But then later in the live stream, he also says that the second reason why there's good buy the dip opportunities, or the second demonstration of it, is based on his conviction about tech stocks. Listen to what he says here.
I don't know. I mean, and don't get me wrong. Like, I'm a big fan, and you know this, of concentrating into my favorite textile stocks. But boy, oh boy, it's exhausting.
Kevin once again demonstrates his conviction in telling the live stream viewers how much he still enjoys and still likes to invest in his textile stocks, even though it's causing him some heartburn. And I'll say that on this particular live stream is where we start to see the problems with Netflix. And apparently Netflix and the guidance that they gave worked a number on Kevin, because from that point on, you can really tell in the rest of his videos that Netflix and whatever happened with them really scared him in some way, and caused him to see things from a different perspective. So as you'll see in a later tweet, it was actually Thursday night was when he began to have a shift in the way that he thought, but he doesn't actually take action on it until the next day. But before we get to that point, I want to ask you to please consider subscribing to my channel and liking this video, and put in the comments what you think so far. Have I given a fair analysis of Kevin so far? I'm not a hater. I'm actually, I still enjoy watching his videos. I've watched all his videos since he's sold, and so I'm not attacking him in any way, but I'd love to hear from you if you think that this is just a hater video. But anyway, I hope you're getting something out of it, and we're going to keep walking along. So the last video on January 20th is one that he entitled SH9T. And I'm not going to go into all that. You can watch his full video at his YouTube channel. All of his videos are still up, so they're there for you to watch. But in that video, he makes suggestions for people to refinance their homes, to get second jobs, to work overtime, to get as much income for the purpose of buying the dip. This is on the Thursday night, January 20th. He says it just like this. Listen to what he says.
But I'm like, I need to save that $300 shot to go buy the dip. But anyway, so going back to Netflix, the Netflix omen here is absolutely horrible. It's literally bad. There's a reason Netflix fell 10% instantly when we were covering the earnings on it. But like it goes deeper, because it's not just Netflix falling 10%. Now it's down like 21%, dragging down Disney stock, dragging down Roku. Anything subscription based is like, oh, time to sell off. Stop spending freaking money. Because when markets get rough, you want all of the freaking money that you can get your hands on, so that way you can invest. I don't care if that means refinance all your properties, pay off your margin debt, take out longer term debt that's stable, 30-year fixed rates where tenants are paying it, in favor of like margin debt, right? Margin debt, bad right now, bad. Like in some cases, it's going to make sense for people to start paying off their margin, even if that means taking some losses, taking some L's, just to prevent margin calls, because ultimately you want to protect that core of your portfolio, right? But we got to have a little bit more of a discussion about where we're heading. And I think that's the important part, is where we're heading and strategies for that, in addition to the strategies I just talked about, and what this Netflix earnings means, and what this two-factor identification code means. It's a problem. We're going to talk about that. I'm also going to talk about real estate in just a second, some strategies regarding real estate. What I'm doing is I'm concentrating and really doubling down on my bets, which is painful, but I get some beautiful entry prices. This is not for everyone, though. And this is where I just want to give, not advice because I can't give financial advice, but a suggestion to everyone. You got to look at your portfolio, and you got to ask yourself, are you somebody who's willing to potentially sit on a portfolio that's red for a year or 18 months or longer, kind of like or potentially even years? I don't think that, but you have to be willing to say, yeah, I don't care. I own this percentage of the company. I'm increasing my ownership in the company. I'm good. I'm diamond handed. I don't have a risk of a margin call because you're protected, whether you refinance some properties and get out of margin, or you switch some share ownership to margin. I don't care what you got to do. You got to make sure that you're protected and ready if you're going to go all in on tech. And then what do? Well, then you spend less money in your life on your day-to-day basis. You sit down tonight, right after, I don't care, right? You know what? After you watch this video, don't go watch another YouTube video, unless it's one of mine. Go cancel subscriptions to like everything. Like seriously, cancel subscriptions to everything. I don't care. Netflix, Disney, any of the discretionary crap you have in your Amazon cart and stuff, cancel everything. And what's interesting is, first of all, as you do this and you focus on saving more money and investing, getting into the market, however you want to invest, ultimately is up to you. You know the stocks I like, but you should choose them for your own portfolio and your own diversification sake. Get as much money as you can. And then when you have more money, these are the times to be greedy and be picking up good deals. You just need more money. So sometimes that actually means going out of your way and picking up that extra overtime shift. Maybe that means picking up a side hustle. Now, I know that's not super popular to say. It's like, oh, just go work more. But that's the reality. Like, it's so easy to just say right now, and don't get me wrong, like, I get those feelings too. I don't love red days. I try my best not to get affected because that's the point of the psychology of investing. You don't want to paper hand at bottom and then miss out on the opportunities of a potential lifetime to buy dips, right? Now, some people who have more cash around, I spent a lot of my cash early, still have cash. So like I said, I went 1.5 in today. No, 1.8 in. And 8 out. So net, I went $1 million into the market today, right? Crazy, I know. But I'm still buying. But the point is, like, get out there and work harder. It's easy, and this was the temptation that I was going to say. It's easy to have the temptation to say, you know what? Sell everything, take the L, and just go on a 2-month vacation and F it, right? It's easy to say that. But ultimately, here's a crazy thing that could potentially happen. This is the weird thing, okay? You know how I just said stop spending money? Guess who the first people are going to stop spending money? The people who are watching this market? Businesses. 5-year break-even rate is falling. That implies the bond market thinks that inflation is going to come down, not actually go up. So if you think about this, you got the bond market saying inflation is going to go down. You've got the end of COVID, whenever that comes, and maybe it won't happen, okay? Then this will be wrong. But once COVID ends, inflation will go down. It will go down. Then you've got the fact that people are going to cut back, and if people cut back, what does that do? Inflation goes down because people are spending less, so prices have to come down, right? That will happen. Unfortunately, though, because the market is getting so revvy and so prepped for the disaster of the Federal Reserve raising rates, which quite frankly isn't really that freaking big of a deal.
That was the last video of January 20th, 2022, that Thursday night, the day before Kevin sells out of everything. So he says that he's put $1 million in the market. He says that people could consider refinancing their homes, getting second jobs, working overtime, stockpiling as much money as he can. He says that his conviction is that he is going to, that he's investing in what he believes in. He's diamond handing, and that he's getting in at good entry points is what he said. He was net $1 million into the market. He was 1.8 in, 800,000 out for a net of 1 million in on that particular day. And he basically shrugs off the issues of the inflation readings and all those things and says, look, these are good times for you to buy. These downturns are great times for you to be able to get in. So he sounds like his regular diamond handing investor Kevin. And then something went wrong on the next day. On January 21, he ends up selling. So the first morning live stream that he has is a video that he has on his page called Fear Dominates. And so we start to see what Kevin has to say on Friday morning, the time before he sells his portfolio worth approximately $20 million. Let's hear what he has to say.
Look at that. Look at that. The curve through the 100-day moving average right here. Now, usually, and consistently in the past, this has been a buying signal. This has been like, oh man, all you have to do is buy under that yellow line, the 100-day moving average. But now it's below it. That's bad. Now, over the past 2 years, we've just been a buy the dip nation, you know. But I can't help but be tempted to want to put together a meme, which I might do because, you know, that's just what I do. I was thinking about staying up last night to do it, but then I got too lazy to do it. But I couldn't help myself. But yesterday we were watching the Titanic, and I couldn't help this scene, and I was kind of a little late in filming it, But anyway, I couldn't help myself but think that in this scene, I should label the top of the boat where the people are holding on. Right, where are they going to show it? Right here. Like, right here, I'm like, oh, look, Lauren, hodlers. Like, oh, crap. Yeah.
When I saw that live stream on January 21st in the morning, I didn't really think anything of it. It seemed like it was a good little joke, and I didn't really put it all together. And in hindsight, now I see that he had already decided that it was time to let things go. And he talked about how when you see the S&P get below the 100-day moving average, it's a signal to buy the dip. And then he says, but hey, probably not now. And he makes a joke about hodlers, which are his people. That's the Wall Street Bets diamond handers that are holding on to their stocks and all of that. And not just them, but also his friends, Graham and Andre and Jeremy on the Millennial Money Show. Those guys are all hodlers. They buy, they don't get rid of their stuff, and when things get lower, they buy more. And that's exactly what Kevin had been about until this day. And on this day, he is making fun, essentially, of those who are holding on to their stocks. He is saying these hodlers are like the people holding on to the boat going down with the ship, and that they're going to end up losing. And at that point, I now see he had already decided that he was going to sell that day, but he never says it. He never comes out directly and says, I'm going to sell my portfolio. You guys need to do the same thing. That's as far as he goes in the morning stream. But he clearly has already made a decision by the time we get to the evening stream. The live stream video is titled, This Is When the Pain Ends. And in that video, he tells everyone that he is going to be making a video about some of the decisions that he's making, and that he has had a very hard conversation with his Discord group. And I'll let him speak for himself on this. Listen to this.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to another closing live stream. Well, folks, the big question now is, when is the pain going to end? And my expectations for when this pain is going to end have shifted substantially. I think we are probably going to experience this continued pain. And I'll make a more detailed video probably later today. It's going to take a while to put it together. But I think we're probably going to see continued pain until we get through specific catalyst points, such as Fed meeting Jan 25, and specifically CPI March 10, and the Fed meeting March 15 to 16. That means that, ironically, I think that earnings, whether they're good or bad, are going to be bad. And I'm just giving you like a quick little preview bottom line here. I'll make a more detailed explanation on all of this later. If you haven't watched my Titanic video yet about what's going on in the market, I recommend you watch that, because it adds a little humor and light to this market. But here's the reality. The market, thank you on the the Titanic video. Yeah. Look, I hope the market just starts rallying. I really do hope that. I want the market to just turn green again. I want to dye my hair green. I want the market to rally. I want everything to go back to normal. But I do think we're teetering between two fears of recession. And I think that's creating so much fear and uncertainty. And the only thing that is going to remove that fear and uncertainty is JPOW. I hate to say it, but it's the CPI data and JPOW. That's what everything hinges on. Even though the bond market isn't pricing in more inflation, those are what the fears are. People go to the gas station and they're like, oh my gosh, $5 gas in California, and I do believe that institutions are going to continue to rip us off. I think the way institutions are ripping us off is we buy the dip and they sell it. They trade us. They literally trade us. They buy in early market dip. They sell by 3 hours into the market, and the market just turns down. Almost every single day, the market turns down towards the close. It's because the institutions aren't buying right now. The people buying are the retail buy the dippers, and they're getting reamed. We just had a very long conversation about strategies about this in the course member live. It was the hardest course member live stream I've ever had to do. But I'm not the kind of person who's going to just, go on vacation when times get tough. That's the sign of a true little bitch, is somebody's like, you know what, YouTube ad revenue's down, stocks are down, just I'm gonna go on a 4-week vacation and just F it, right? Like, that would be a little baby. I'm gonna stand up and go through strategies. I'm preparing a larger video for the channel. This is a little bit of a preview of what some of my thoughts are. We talk a little bit more in a raw format in the course member live, and we can kind of have a little bit of a dialogue, and then that helps me kind of put thoughts together for larger videos later. But it won't be before the market's closed, because, well, the market's going to close in 9 minutes. But anyway, I'm not going anywhere. I am going to keep streaming and keep covering the madness of the market. And so with that said, let's get into the madness of the market.
This, of course, was the evening stream on January 21 when markets closed around 4 o'clock, and several things to pick up on here. First of all, as I mentioned, he mentioned several times that he's going to put a fuller video about his analysis and his thoughts on things. This was, I believe, prior to the actual bell ringing. It may not have been. I didn't actually catch this one on that particular day because I was in a meeting. But he could have at any one of these points said, I'm going to do a fuller video later, but what I'm doing is I'm selling my entire position. And in some later videos, he has said, well, I didn't want to do that because if I threw that out on the live stream, it would cause confusion. The chat would just go crazy. People wouldn't understand. And so I'm trying to put this nice video together within 24 hours, and everybody should just essentially just be happy with that. But when he's hinting at this, and he's building this thing up, and he's claiming that he doesn't want to cause confusion or some uproar in the live stream, and yet at 5:09 he puts a tweet out on Twitter, and all it says is sell, and people are like confused by that. They're saying sell, or is this a joke? Are you being ironic or whatever? And people don't know what he's talking about. And they eventually understand he's not kidding. He is completely sold out of his position. And he could have completely done that during the live stream without having to put a full video out there. Certainly he has no obligation to tell everybody what he's doing. He doesn't have an obligation to do anything. But he can't. It's disingenuous to not expect people who are following you and following your analysis to say, well, I couldn't really give it to you on the live stream because I needed to build this bigger video. He's explained significant purchases and significant moves in the live streams, both before and after. So he could have simply done that and just said, I'm selling. I know there's probably a lot of questions. I'm going to be doing a video on this, but I've sold out of all of my positions, and I'm building for something that I think is a big problem, and we'll deal with that. I'm going to be putting a video. Now then, all the people that are following him that take advice from him, and you say, well, you're supposed to think for yourself. Okay, well, if that's true, then we don't need a YouTube channel. He should just go home and turn the camera off, because there's no point in him giving analysis, because nobody should be able to rely on it, right? They should just do what they want. So just turn off the YouTube and be done. I mean, that's silly. Grow up a little bit. That's a stupid argument, okay? When people are giving financial information, they know people are taking it and learning from it and making moves based on it. And especially when you got a following of 1.7, 1.8 million subscribers, they're not just there so that they can say, oh, that was a nice story that Uncle Kevin told us, but I'm not going to make any moves based on what I've heard. I mean, that's stupid. Just get over that. That's dumb. All he had to do was say, I'm selling, and I'm going to do another video on it later. And then people could decide for themselves, whoa, should I join in on this and empty out my account, or should I continue to diamond hand and all those things? But he doesn't do that. He makes this cockamamie excuse about needing to put together this video, and since he did it in 24 hours, it's totally cool, even though he touts that he gives 100% transparency all the time. He was clearly not transparent in that live stream, and he can try to dance around that all he wants to. The facts are what they are. He was not transparent. The second thing is you see that he's setting up that argument for when he says, I'm not going anywhere, I'm not leaving. You would be a weenie baby or a wimp if you were to go on a vacation and not do the YouTube because the ad revenue is down. But I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to keep doing live streams. And he's setting up that for that argument so he could say that later, when clearly on January 18th, when he said, I'm not effing leaving, he was 100% talking about he wasn't leaving the market. He was diamond handing. Disingenuous. It just is what it is. It is completely disingenuous to say that when he said, I'm not effing leaving and I'm not going anywhere, that he was talking about leaving YouTube. This was intentionally inserted in this video the very day that he sold out so that he could make that argument in the future. I mean, that's just clear. And that's not hate. It just is what it is. I mean, you just got to be honest. If you're going to say you're going to be transparent, then be transparent and say that. So that's what he says. And then the next thing we know is that he has the tweet that we just saw at 5:09 that he sold out. 2 days later, he puts a tweet out that says that people hate that I sold out on Friday, but I'd rather be honest and transparent, unlike Congress, who doesn't disclose and blah, blah, blah. You see the tweet there. I mean, again, nobody is upset that Kevin sold on Friday. I mean, maybe there are some. If they are, they're knuckleheads, and you should completely disregard them anyway. Most of the angst, I believe, is that people don't feel he was being transparent when he could have just simply said on the live stream, I'm going to sell. And if he would have said he was going to sell, there would be no basis for argument or for complaint, because it's Kevin's money. He can do with it what he wants to do. But he knew he had sold by the time he had done that last live stream, and he didn't tell anybody. And he waited until 5:09 and just put a tweet out with one word. And to think that wouldn't cause confusion, but putting it in a live stream would, I mean, nobody's upset that is rational and reasonable. Nobody's upset that you sold on Friday, Kevin. People are upset because they believe you were being disingenuous and that you were holding something back from your audience. I mean, that's what people were upset about. That's what has rubbed me the wrong way about all of these things, is that you could have just said it on Friday, and then you try to turn it around and change your argument about things, about YouTube and all of that. And it even threw off the Millennial Money crew. They had some. It was weird. I was out on a walk on Saturday. All of a sudden, I see a Millennial Money. I'm like, wait a minute, this is weird. I thought they only did Millennial Money on Tuesday. And apparently, whatever Kevin did rocked their world so much that they felt they needed to build a community together. And Jeremy apparently had said some things about Kevin and his dealings, and it didn't seem like any of them agreed with what Kevin was doing. And so they had a special edition of Millennial Money on that Saturday without Kevin there, and it was in person. And Kevin has not been back since. So, I mean, then he says, okay, well, the I'm not leaving means I'm not leaving YouTube. Well, then he turns his comments off of his YouTube channel, because I'm guessing all of the people that are hating on him and all that. I've put a couple of comments on there, basically laying out what I'm saying here. I will admit that I did put one FUD Holdings LLC comment on that. That was not directed to Kevin. That was directed to Peter Schiff. He may have taken it to be about Kevin, but I was directing that at Peter Schiff because, frankly, I think you can't be a trader and be a FUD because you can't afford that kind of stuff. But to keep saying you're going to buy all these tobacco products and friggin' gold and all these things that you know, that's as FUD as it gets. So yeah, I was talking about Peter Schiff there, but I mean, I don't think Kevin even read my comment, so it doesn't really matter. But the bottom line is that he goes that there's he turns off comments, and then he does this video called "Ending My Channel," and in this video he now says, well, I know I said that I wasn't leaving YouTube and I'm going to be here for the live streams. That's what he said on January 21st. And that night, when he's setting up this I'm not leaving means I'm not leaving YouTube, he says, I'm going to be here to do the live streams. Well, in this video called Ending My Channel, he has now ended his live streams for YouTube audience. And the only people who are able to get the live breakdowns are people who purchase his Stocks of Psychology and Money course members. So he is now gone back on that. And then he puts a video out saying, I'm a flip-flopper or whatever. And instead of just apologizing and owning what he did and the disingenuousness, he says, well, I was a flip-flopper when I decided I was going to drop out of UCLA and I didn't. I was a flip-flopper when I majored in this and then switched the major. I was a flip-flopper when I was going to be a police officer, but then I became a realtor. I was a flip-flopper. And it's just pretentious. That is a pretentious video. People that watch it were like, oh, that's so humble. No, that's not humble. He's not apologizing. He's not saying he did anything wrong. He's saying, I've been flip-flopping my whole life and everything's worked out pretty well for me so far. So if you really want to, you want things to work out well for you, you keep following me. And that's what the video is. That's not flip-flopping. That's not going on one day. Oh, one day I'm going to be a police officer. And then the very next day, oh, I'm a real estate agent. You were a police officer for a period of time, and then you made a shift in your career after careful analysis, and nobody was following you then. Nobody cared. So that's not flip-flopping. That's just making a change or adjustment. In this video scenario, Kevin has shifted not only in his investing versus trader philosophy. He went from investing in the market on January 20 into the tune of $1 million to selling everything within a 24-hour period. On January 20th, he says that he is still saying everyone needs to buy the dip. And on January 21, he says, I'm building a video. I'm not really going to tell you what it's about, but I think there's going to be a lot of pain in the market. And unbeknownst to his listeners, he is completely sold out. So that's not even remotely close to making a career change, to making a change in major at a university. Just stop that. Here's what really needs to happen is there needs to be an honest, genuine apology that says, when I told y'all that I had to make the video, that was the excuse. That really wasn't true. I didn't want to tell you on the live stream because I was afraid that I would lose my following or whatever it was that caused you to be afraid to not do it, and just be honest about it. Then you need to apologize for saying that I'm not effing leaving meant I'm not effing leaving YouTube when you know that when you said that it was about you're not leaving the market, and then you changed your mind and shifted. I mean, that was your audience is smarter than that. They're not dumb, and that's essentially how you're treating your audience, as if they're dumb, and you owe them an apology for that. You don't owe me anything. I don't care. You know, like I said, I'm still watching, still learning. But, you know, don't expect everybody to just cuddle up and think everything's okay when you're giving all these bullcrap stories. I mean, that's just not cool, man. Just give a real apology, not I'm a flip-flopper when I did this, when I did that. That's ridiculous. Just don't do that. Just apologize and then turn your live stream back on like you said you were going to do, which you're not doing now anymore. But, you know, so what are some takeaways with this situation? Well, number one, it shows the real problem of trading versus investing. When you're investing, you don't get emotional. You don't worry about every single little thing. It's like today, the Ukrainian crisis, you know, caused the markets to tumble, and it ended. I think the Dow was down over 500 points. S&P was down. The Nasdaq was all down, and so it was a day where my investing philosophy is a red day. So I put in money on the red days. And I don't worry about what's going to happen next week or the next week or whatever. It's just a philosophy I have. And eventually the Dow, the S&P, and the Nasdaq are all going to go back up. And to try to time the market on that, I mean, I can't even imagine how stressful that would be. And you know, when you're doing the in-depth analysis that Kevin's doing with the hours that he's put in, to add the additional stress of trading, I mean, I understand why he may have made an emotional decision, and hopefully it works out for him. I mean, don't forget, I mean, he may end up winning a ton of money out of this, but it's completely 100% speculative, and he's admitted that. So if he does, he's just lucky, and I hope he's lucky in that regard. I don't want him to lose any money. I mean, how does that help me for him to lose? That doesn't help. It doesn't change the argument. You know, just because he's able to win doesn't mean he's right in how he's done this. That's two completely different things. You know, it's kind of like when I coach basketball, and you know, I try to tell the kids to pass the ball into the middle. If some kid happens to heave up a three-pointer and make it, that doesn't make it a good shot. It just means he made that shot. But 99 times out of 100, he's not going to make it. So don't shoot. That's a bad shot. Even and sometimes in sports, especially, the worst thing that can happen is for a bad shot to go in, because then you think, oh, I'm actually really good at that. No, you're probably not. You just got lucky. And so, I mean, I hope that he does make a lot of money out of this. But this is what I try to tell all my personal injury people is like, you need to be an investor, not a trader. You might as well be a gambler. Some people win, it's very few, but most people lose. And so it's better to invest. You know, as Kevin has said in these videos from January 18th to January 20th, you know, the best thing to do is to buy the dip and stack up your shares, and eventually they'll go back up. I mean, that's just how it works. If you're buying individual stocks, obviously, there's a danger there that won't happen. But if you're buying into the index funds or an actively managed fund, you don't need to worry about that. Don't lose a lot of sleep over it. Just continually dollar cost average, like Graham does and Andre does, and just, you know, keep going. Don't quit. I mean, there's a red day, put more money in. It's no big deal. The second thing is when you mess up, don't try to reword things and recalibrate things like people were stupid. Just be honest and admit it and apologize. People are forgiving, man. There's just something about people that are just super forgiving. There's just something about people. They're very forgiving, and when you own up to things and you apologize, you know, people move on. And I really think that people want Kevin to go back to the live streams. I don't think people want to pile on hate. I think they just want him to own up to what he did and apologize to them for, you know, making up these stories about these different things. So, you know, when you're dealing with that in your daily life, whether it's in your career or your family, you know, don't try to twist things to make it seem that you were right the whole time. if you messed up, just apologize for it. Move on. It's just what grown-ups do, or what they should do, and things will work out pretty good. So anyway, I hope you found this video helpful. Please put in the comments what you think, if you agree, if you disagree, if you think I've been a hater this whole time. I promise you I haven't, but you know, maybe you think I have been. Maybe I've been too harsh. I don't know. I hope not. If Kevin watches this, which I doubt he will, but if he does, I wish him all the best. I hope he makes a ton of money, and I'll keep watching. But you know, I know what the videos say, and they don't say what he has said they said. So I would suggest that you give an apology to your audience, and I think that they'll be very forgiving. So anyway, this was my first exposed video, I guess you could say, and I learned from the best, from Meet Kevin himself, on exposing Grant Cardone. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and let me know what you think about my analysis there. So please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and until next time, stay tuned.